So this Techno build's about done, or completely done pretty much. All I really need when you see my gear is I need skill leech on my shotgun and death chains instead of claymore. And then status power instead of skill leech on my boots, if I can ever make those final tweaks. But for the most part, this build is completely done. My secondary gun you see right there is very good for dealing with bosses and single elites and long range damage when I need it. Just because I'm not an anomaly power or a firepower build, so most of my own damage just comes from mods like that, getting buffed by my debuffs and my bonus damage from like the skill trees and stuff like that, the turrets. Which is why I learned the best focus damage on this dude is like the raw damage mods, and for like single target raw damage ones, the best is Death Ray and Ultimate Storm Weapon Death Ray are the best for just single target. If you can, Death Ray's perfect because I'm able to actually stay locked on, like not have to be interrupted from aim down sight mode on this dude. Because there's none of my, because I just set up my turrets, my fixing wave heals them, and I can just keep Death Ray up forever. So, and then Claymore Torrent's also still good for single target. Then my shotgun, though, that's the thing about this dude. As you'll see, he still clears pretty fast because my infinite ammo build on him lets me still use an infinite shotgun even without having to use license to heal too. And so I just slap, as you see, Nicola's Revenge and Strings of Goss for the ultimate lightning shotgun, and it also just clears groups insanely fast, as well as elites too if the elites are near enemies, because of how OP Nicola's Revenge is, combined with the debuffs too. So I really like this Techno build. It's not my best build even for the Techno for damage, of course. I know that. The reason I love this Techno build is because it does so much healing and support. Like, it's how I envision the Techno to be. As a healer support role, this is what this dude is. He heals his teammates a crazy amount and supports them in so many ways a crazy amount. Debuffing the enemies with marked for execution, then also buffing my allies' damage near my turrets. My turrets debuff, and then they also buff my allies' damage. So this dude actually does. He's not as good as a pyro for increasing teammate damage, but still does a good amount with his build for increasing his teammates' damage. Then he also makes his teammates tanks themselves. Like my teammates especially, no matter what distance they are from me, I do a lot, but you just have to, I won't go through everything, but you can just read, again, the mod descriptions and the skill node descriptions, especially the patch notes, skill notes combined with all the mods for my turrets and fixing wave that you see. And this dude does so much for his teammates and for himself. So he is a super ridiculous tank. You rarely even see his health go down with how much healing combined with armor resistance and turrets he has. And then he turns his teammates into super tanks. Then he buffs his teammates' damage. Then he makes his teammates have infinite ammo, period, if they didn't already have that. And then he just... I feel like this build on the Techno would be perfect with 2 max DPS, speedrun, a Pyro who does a lot of debuffs, and then a max Trickster firepower. Because basically I'm increasing both their damage, and then also making them both invincible, which they usually wouldn't be. And then they don't have to care about anything at that point, especially if they're near me during the boss fights too. And the Pyro is increasing my own damage, and my own damage isn't terrible, so at least I'm not too much of a burden with my own damage to the team. Then the Pyro is increasing my damage, he's increasing the Trickster damage, and I'm increasing it too. The Pyro is doing a lot of AoE clearing. So in this kind of team, you basically have the Pyro combined with my own buffs to him, just melting the field. Where the Trickster combined with the debuffs of the Pyro and my own buffs to him is melting the bosses. And then I'm contributing to both of them and then also making them both invincible. And then I'm also invincible in case they do go down. So that's what I feel like. This Techno just feels like, because I can bring level 1s into Arbitorium, and sometimes the level 1s, especially if they're near me and inside my turret bubbles too, where they get doubly negative resistance taken off and double the amount of resistance I give them at that point. Well, then they actually literally never die. no matter how much they're getting hit too, even if they have nothing on their own build invested in armor and health and all that. So, yeah, this guy is just, I really, really like this Techno build. I'll never give it up because it's perfect, I feel like, at this point. I've perfectly balanced its own support side, tank side, and damage side, so that is exactly what I would imagine it to be now for a Techno healer support build. Oh, and one last thing. I learned, by the way, that Blighted Turret's base damage is so terrible that investing anomaly power at all into Blighted Turret damage is dumb. But Focus Discharge does do a lot. That's why I only added Focus Discharge, and why I then just turned my Blighted Turret into yet another freeze turret for the further support freeze on this side. And yeah, I don't use Cold Snap. I think I tried to initially, and Cold Snap I hated for myself because the thing about Cold Snap, the only way Cold Snap's doing a lot of damage and like clearing the field is if you're a Flame Leper Techno, which I'm not. Or if you have if you're like Techmonger and just have so much anomaly power that you don't really care that the enemies are spread out a bunch. But the thing is, as you see with my shotgun and stuff, I kind of want the enemies to still be moving and grouping around me. Because that's what helps my own damage. So when I tried Cold Snap, it was taking so much longer to clear because on this kind of tank build too, because then I was just having to just track every enemy down. It was so annoying. Where I'm like, I'm a tank anyway, I don't need that. But that's when I came up with the idea to just turn my Blighted Turret into a third freeze turret, and then basically it's kind of like, I may not freeze the whole field, but I still freeze most of everything that's like near me, and it allows it to still group around me before it gets frozen. So I can still melt them, basically. Also, I love the Blighted Turret as a freeze turret because it actually changes the sound effect and what it does, where it has the same like flamethrower sound effect in the game. So I really like that change for the Blighted Turret. But yeah, that's why I got rid of Cold Snap, because and also because Lead Seeker, that skill node, and all the other turret-related skill nodes you get up to that point that make your turrets, help your teammates in various ways, those things apply to all three turrets. So if I don't use all three turrets, well then I'm not getting the biggest bonus. Each turret is individually like taking away negative statuses and individually like has its own radius for replenishing ammo and buffing damage. So obviously if you're going to go that route, you want to use all three turrets, otherwise you're missing out on your support role, really, is what you're doing. And that's when I realized it was really up to either Fixing Wave or Cold Snap, but Fixing Wave offers way more buffs to teammates and heals and all that sort of stuff than Cold Snap does. And also it allows me to so this is the last thing I want to say that contributes to this dude even being a further support build, because my Fixing Wave lets me heal my turrets, and now pretty much my turrets are pretty much invincible. I rarely, if ever, have an enemy actually destroy them at all anyways, and have to respawn them wherever I put them. So it allows me to strategically place my turrets sometimes. And in areas like Eye of the Storm or City of Nomads or some certain trial areas with like certain entrances at them, or if you can like funnel the enemies all into one group, like it allows me to just kind of like set up a base and just keep it the way I like it. Whereas like that's also why I don't like using Techmongers, because Techmongers forces you to keep freaking dropping your turret down, and I hate that. I want to just let my turret go and then not have to worry about it anymore. That's also why this dude is a purple build, because I learned like no other set bonus works for it, and it's why I also learned that he's a tank too, because since I'm using Fixing Wave, I can't invest a lot of damage related mods anyway into this build, which is why I learned I'm better off just going all max health and just being the tankiest I can be. Because the only bonus going anomaly power on my gear would give me is I might kill that boss, for instance, a little bit, maybe like 40-30% faster, and that would be it. Like, and my clear time would still not go down much, because the biggest chunk of my AoE damage is just my infinite shotgun, not the turrets. So that's when I realized, yeah, I'd rather just go full tank, actually. That's why I realized full tank is best for this guy too.